The Wolves and a centre-back. Finally, it looks like it might happen. Bruno Lage just come out and said, we need one centre-back. We can find one more winger, which don't really see why, and a different striker. Look, he obviously said this in the summer as well, but I thought, you know what, let's look at some centre-backs we could get in January. I think actually centre-backs are a really easy position to recruit for us, and there's a lot of good centre-backs that we can go and get in January that are really realistic. Like, I'm going to do another video like this for midfielders, but I think it's really hard to get a midfielder. Whereas centre-backs, I feel like there's loads. And obviously, all these centre-backs I'm about to say, it's not a dig at our current back three. Roman Saiss has been great. He's a really good aggressor. He clearly plays that role. Cody's the leader and the distributor. And Kilman's the ball carrier. I think they've all done great. This isn't a dig at any of those guys. But we just need someone that can come in and help. Obviously, I think Cody's got the more specific role, but I think there's centre-backs that can come in that could fill Kilman and Saiss's roles. Obviously, Sven Botman's the bait one. I'm not really going to speak about Botman. Everyone knows he's great. It looks like he'll probably go to Newcastle. He's everything we need. He's a really good ball carrier. He's decent in the air. He's the right age. He's got a good mix of being young and but also not being experienced. He's very two-footed. But I don't think we'll get Sven Botman. He'll probably end up at Newcastle. And honestly, if Newcastle want to go and spend 35 million euros on Sven Botman, then fine. I wouldn't pay that for Sven Botman. I like him, but if Fosun don't want to pay that, I completely support that. I think there are other centre-backs you can get who are kind of similar quality that you could get for cheaper. And look, also, Sven Botman's a guaranteed starter, and let's be honest, are any of those guys going to get dropped right now? No, so it's probably better to bring in someone that can rotate. So these are the guys I'm suggesting. Obviously, Sven Botman would be great, by the way. Nat Phillips is the first one. Now, look, this is very Brexity. Wolves don't buy English players. We don't really do business. We do business with Liverpool. And the things I like about Nat Phillips, obviously he's 24, which is a good age. He's similar age to Kilman. And he's a very active defender, Nat Phillips. And like, obviously these are from his Liverpool, from last season at Liverpool. Obviously he had a loan spell at Stuttgart as well. He's not the most experienced guy, kind of similar to Kilman really, in terms of that he's quite old but not really played much football. But he's a very active defender. He's very elite in a few things. You know, 5.8 aerial wins per 90 is ridiculous. Like, he's actually the best in Europe. Like, literally, he is the best in Europe. In Europe's top 5 leagues, he's got the best aerial wins per 90. And Wolves are kind of middling in terms of aerial win rate per 90. I think we're on about 49% of aerial wins, which is kind of middling for Premier League clubs. Nat Phillips will come in and help that. He would probably be more of a safe kind of role in that back three, but he's decent in the air. He's an okay passer. He's not an incredible passer. And obviously these passing stats are jacked by the fact he's played for one of the best sides in Europe. He's not the most active player in terms of dribbling or anything, but he can press. He's an active defender. You know, if you look at the players that FBref compared him to, obviously Roman Saiss is there, Harry Maguire. I know people don't like, but all these guys are back three defenders as well. You know, Friedrich, Romero, Maguire. I know he plays in a back four, but he's also played in a back three. Saiss, Hummels. These are all guys that Hinteregger. They're all kind of guys that play in a back three. I think Nat Phillips would make sense. Apparently Liverpool want to sell him in January. Apparently they want about 10 mil. You could probably even get him on loan. He's a big guy. He's a decent age. He could push out Saiss or Kilman. He'll probably want to try and get regular minutes for that World Cup squad in 2022. I think this would be a good option. Why not? I know we don't really buy English players, but I think he'd be a decent option. In terms of the continent, we were actually linked with Nikola Milenkovic a few months ago in the summer, but very similar to Roman Saiss. FBref actually puts them as the same in terms of comparisons, but obviously Fiorentina are doing really well right now under Italiano, but it always feels like Fiorentina are a club that will sell, good in the air, pretty well-rounded guys. He's very similar to Botman when you look at his numbers, but he'd probably be a lot cheaper. I'm not saying he's like a world-class centre-back or anything, and normally does play in a back four on the right, but coming to a back three would be easier. Again, I'm not sure they'd sell him in January, but why wouldn't they if you put the money on the table? I know Wolves don't have loads of money, but he'd be someone that would come in and probably take Saiss's spot maybe. But again, probably gettable. He feels like he's always linked with moves away, but never really does. Maybe that's an agent thing. But I think Milenkovic would be an interesting shout. Another one as well was Reece Oxford. Like I completely forgot Reece Oxford existed until I was doing research for this video. Because obviously he played those games as a DM for West Ham like 4 years ago. I think they beat Arsenal on the opening day, right? And everyone thought Reece Oxford was going to be the next big thing. He went on loan to Gladbach, played in the back three. It didn't really work out for him. He's gone to Augsburg now. He's 23, by the way. So he's kind of getting on a bit. You know, he's still younger than like Kilman or something. But look, I'm not saying he's incredible, but he's young. He's English. He's just signed a new contract at Augsburg like 2 months ago, but I reckon they would sell him. You know, they're a middling Bundesliga club. They would take money if they get it. Aerially dominant for his age. He's not like a front foot defender. Like you know, when you look at tackles and interceptions for defenders, people who have high interceptions, and he's in the top 3 percentile, but have low tackles normally means they're kind of a passive defender, whereas people that have really high tackling numbers but low interceptions are normally more front foot guys. So he's more of a sitter, which to me suggests he can maybe play more in that Coady or Kilman role than the Roman Saiss role, right? You know, he's not an incredible dribbler. He's an okay passer forward, but nothing special. But he's doing okay in Germany right now. He's young, he's English. We're probably willing to come in and play a backup role, and I think he's good enough to play, or his stats suit enough to play where Kilman could or Saiss could. Do you know what I mean? Look, I'm not saying he'd be incredible. I don't think we need to go and get some like elite centre back. We just need some depth right now. You know, whoever we buy in January doesn't need to be our centre back for the next 5 years. And look, who knows? Willy Bolly could still come back. Probably won't, but you know, who knows? Thiago Jallow as well. I thought I might as well just look and see who's the best like Portuguese centre back around right now. And I didn't even know who Jallow was, to be honest, but he's doing really well at Lille right now. He's played a bit of fullback, which kind of jacks his numbers up a bit, but he's a really good dribbler, kind of front foot defender. Like I was saying before with Reece Oxford, really high tackles but low interceptions. So he's a bit more of a front foot defender. We kind of have to do what probably more be where Roman Saiss is, but that's kind of maybe a bit jacked by the fact he's played fullback a bit, but really good pressures, not great in the air. That's a bit of a concern because we already have, you know, Saiss is good in the air, but Cody's not good in the air and Kilman's not good in the air. So if he did take Saiss's spot, that would probably be a bit of a concern. But 21, we all know Lille need to sell. He partnered Botman right now. He's played Champions League. Could be a decent option. Profiles like Koulibaly and Klosterman according to FBref. So if he's that good, who knows? But 21, Portuguese, young, would be something we kind of do. They're my main five. Phillips, Milenkovic, Jallow, Reece Oxford. I think there are some other ones as well that I just quickly point out. I think Joe Rodham could get a ball on loan. I'm not saying he's an incredible defender or anything, but he's quite a big guy. I know it says he's 5'10 there. He's not 5'10. He's 24. Obviously, he's not really getting a game at Tottenham right now. And I'm not saying he's incredible, by the way. He's not. But good in the air. All his defensive numbers are pretty good. He's an okay passer. Obviously, he's terrible in terms of carrying the ball out. But Tottenham would be willing to loan him out, I assume. Might be okay on a 6-month loan. Not saying he'd break the world or anything, but it could be an okay loan. Same with Pablo Mari. Again, not getting game time at Arsenal. We've been linked with him before. We were linked with him before he joined Arsenal from Flamengo. A bit better on the ball, good in the air, a bit more of a front foot defender again, you know, in the bottom 1 percentile for interceptions. Not really getting a game at Arsenal right now. They'd probably loan him out or maybe even sell him. Could be an okay option. I'm not saying he'd be incredible or anything, but could be an interesting option. Cisse out of Olympiacos. We were linked with this guy before. We've done a lot of business with Olympiacos, which is kind of why he came to my mind. You know, Jose Sa and Daniel Podence have been both decent signings out of that league. Obviously, he's only ever really played in off leagues, but really good in the air. I remember watching him when we played against us. Obviously, to get 4 goals already in 1,200 minutes is pretty good for a guy who's 6'5". Obviously, he's left-footed. Really good in the air. He's a bit of more of an old school defender, right? You know, he's profiled like Yannick Vestergaard. Again, I'm not saying this guy would be incredible, but although good dribble numbers, to be fair. So maybe I'm doing a bit of a disservice, but we've done business with Olympiacos before. Would help out aerial issues if we bought him in, given his height. Quite two-footed as well, 63% on the right foot. So obviously, most defenders are normally 80 or 90 on their strong foot. Then Axel Disasi as well could be an interesting one. Obviously, Monaco have just sacked Niko Kovac, and Disasi's playing a lot for him, but who knows, maybe in a new manager they'll be willing to sell him. Really active defender again, which is kind of what I've tried to find. Really good dribbler, really good passer. Probably would be a bit out of our price range, to be honest, but I thought it'd be an interesting one. So those are some centre backs I think we could get. I think Nat Phillips makes the most sense just because he's another English guy available in January. We've done Liverpool business for Liverpool before. We could even try and maybe just say to him, look, you can have that. You don't have to pay us for Jota, just give us Phillips. Because I think they still owe it was like 15 mil. Maybe you could do something like that. Milenkovic would be a good one, probably a bit punchy. I think Jallow would be great and kind of fits Wolves given the Portuguese thing. Oxford, a bit of a punt, but young English, maybe worth a risk. Rodon on loan might be okay. Pablo Mari on loan, the same. Disasi a bit punchy, but could be good given Monaco's situation. And Cisse, we've done business with Olympiacos before, so who knows. And Botman, obviously not happening. So yeah, there's some sense that I think we could get. Enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel. There'll be another one on midfielders coming out tomorrow, I think. And whoever we do sign in January, I'll do some videos on because it looks like we're going to make some signings if Bruno Lage is to be believed. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, peace.